Hey everybody, happy someday and welcome back. This week's layout update is going to be mostly here at the river. As you can tell, if you watched my last video, I have went through and I've painted the embankment that I worked on with the drywall mud, and it is brown all the way around. So I'm pretty happy with that. Also painted some other spots right over here, just on the right of the track, and I have a cut to finish building here out of some foam. I'll stack up another piece of foam and then round it off a little bit on top, paint it brown, and then it'll have a whole bunch of trees on there and rock on one side. But go back to the river bank. I think this is going to look incredible after I get this painted, and that's exactly what we're going to work on tonight. Well, I got to put some clear caulk down here still and let that dry, but I'm not going to paint 16 feet of water tonight. But let's talk about what I'm going to paint with. I'm going to start off using these basic acrylic paints, and I dilute these with water, literally water, to paint the water. And I've used these quite a number of times. Go ahead and let you see the colors themselves from left to right. I got raw sienna, burnt umber, raw umber, and then a Mars black. You come over here, left to right, there's a hooker's green, my favorite, a gray green in the middle, and then a light green on the right. Now I will start off mixing these together on my palette, and I'm going to work on this smaller section of the river from this bridge to the top of the screen there. I will work lighter colors to the left and darker towards what would be the middle of the river, and I will do that all the way down. In my last video, I had mentioned that I needed to figure out which way the water would be flowing, and I believe I'm going to go ahead and have it flow to the left. And what that will do is when I get to this point to start painting, the runoff will come down, and there'll be like a dirt trail, basically like a silt, going from this little, I don't want to call it a, what is it, conflux? Whatever the word is, where two bodies of water come together, because this is mostly just drainage coming off of a mountain between two hills. Now, in the Army, we called that a draw. So that's what I'm really calling this, is just a draw with a bunch of rock and stuff down here, because of the runoff coming from this area, coming down here during a storm could be, quite a bit of water at one time or another. So this will come down. Any dirt, silt that comes down here will flow in this direction. So that water will be dirtier, and I will fade the dirty water back to cleaner water, probably in about 2 or 3 feet. And hopefully I don't screw that up. Now, the important thing about all this is if you're not happy with your result, just paint over it. So if you've never painted water before, or you don't think you can, be positive and just give it a go. I mean, these things are not super expensive. I got these at Hobby Lobby. They're $6 a piece, and I've got about $40 worth here. And $40 that I've been using these. Well, actually, I spent $40 on one time, and I've been using these for about 1.5 years, or maybe even 2 years. So don't be afraid to spend a little money, because this stuff's going to go a long ways. Now, once again, back to, if you don't like your result, just mix you up with some paint again and go over it. Just keep going over it, and think of it as layers. Just keep going over it until you're happy with the result. And if it's a little too thick, just get a little water on your brush and thin it out a little bit. And if it's too thin, then just go back and, put another coat on there. It's not going to hurt anything. So I painted water before with these, and I'll show you that right now. All right, so this river here is roughly, I think, 23, 24 inches wide and about 24 inches deep. I painted this a few years ago. You can see a little, where the water is a little bit lighter on the left side, and it's a little darker on the right side, but those are shadows right now. But when you change the angle and the light hits it different, it looks different. Now, after I painted all this with the same paints that I showed you just a second ago, I let it dry for a couple of days, and then I shot it with a coating of like clear lacquer to seal it. And then at some point I will dam off both ends and pour some epoxy on there, maybe an eighth or so thick, and then I'll go ahead and start detailing the rest of it. And I probably won't do all that until I take this bridge out, and that probably won't be anytime soon, maybe in the spring. I got a guy that I was talking to on eBay who 3D prints this concrete viaduct, and I need to send him some information. He said he can modify the ends of his viaduct so that my big double track bridge can fit right in there. And once I do that, and once I get that, then, you know, that'll be a different story. I'll be tearing into this pretty quick at that point. But let's go look at the other spot. Now, if you watch my videos, you know that I got some epoxy. I just need to get off my lazy butt and come back here and mix it and pour it. But this is a small scale version of what I envision that the river will look like. Maybe not so dark in the middle, but maybe closer to the edge of the layout. But I think it's going to look pretty cool. I'm really excited about this. I really love how this looks when you just kind of look down this. I just hope I don't screw it all up when I put the epoxy in. And I like the embankments, the way I've done the both sides of the bridge. I did them different for a reason. A lot of rock on this side, and the rock does not match. And then on this side, very little rock except for the water line and a couple of shrubs and a lot of dirt. So I think it kind of changes up things. So I can take a photo from this direction, just like this, and it looks, in my opinion, very different from this direction, especially if I include the bridge and, you know, stuff like that. So I'm still not happy with the way I cut these this backdrop, so I'll redo that at some point. And let's go back here and get ready to start painting. All right, so I got my paint mixed up, and I didn't show you how to do this because I kind of figured that might be common knowledge, but I'll go ahead and kind of tell you what I did. I used my Hooker's green, my bright green, and my gray, and I mixed it together, and I threw in some burnt umber to kind of tone it down. The greens together were still a very bright green. I used about a quarter, well, this gray area, about the same amount in my mixture as in each one, I guess. Am I saying that right? No, I'm not saying that right. I used about a dollop, if you know what that is, of each color, and then I mixed the two greens together really good with a little bit of water and a little bit of the burnt umber to tone it down, and a little bit of the gray to tone it down. And we'll see how this looks on the white. I have a feeling I may have to tone it down some more. It might be a little too bright, but we'll do the shoreline and see what it does. I got this real cool little palette at Hobby Lobby for like, I don't know, $3 or $4. And I think it's going to work out pretty good. I bought it specifically for this. And I got a feeling I'm going to use the heck out of it. So I'm going to paint a little bit and then bring you back and show you what I did. Okay, so I've been painting for just a couple of minutes here. You can see it's very, very bright. And the light and the fact that it's wet makes it look even brighter. You can see it's kind of getting a little dirtier here. This is an area that I'm going to have a whole lot of rock because it's very close to the roadbed. So I kind of want some more like dust or like maybe rock, dirt, or debris down in there. So I changed the color a little bit. You see, it's not looking bad, but once again, you got to do it in layers. And one of the most important things to do is to keep your brush strokes going in the same direction as the water that you're doing. So if you can see right there, I changed my brush strokes up, and that looks like crap, but I did it for a reason, just to show you not to do that. So keep your brush strokes going along with your current of the river flow, and you'll be doing all right. So I'm gonna finish this up and probably go a little bit darker, and I'll show you the results of that. And then I can see how much paint I'm using. Let me show you the paint anyway. I'm going to add some more burnt umber to this because I kind of went through it already, and a little bit of gray, but you can see how I have different shades of the paint all around my my palette. And this is so that I can quickly and easily change the color up without mixing up anything else. So I mixed just a little bit, and my paintbrush is just an angled 2-inch soft brush from Lowe's. And these are pretty cheap, but I figured with this big area that I'm painting, I need something larger than a like an artist brush. So it's not looking too bad. Come back here now. Well, you're not going to go nowhere because you're going to fade right into the next portion of the video. So ignore what I just said. I'm having fun with this one tonight. All right. So this is going along pretty quick. I've reloaded my palette about 3 different times, varying the mixtures. And it's hard to tell with the light right here, but you can see the different streaks. And I hope I don't drop my phone in the paint. But you can see the different streaks. And it's not looking great, but it's not looking all that bad right now. Here's all the silt and dirt coming out of the draw right there underneath the bridge. And the good thing about this stuff is, once again, if you don't like it, all you gotta do is go back and fade it some more. So there's a little line right there. I will work on that later. And this here looks pretty good. I'm really happy with this part. Different colors, different variations of the colors. And the lines of my paintbrush, my strokes, follow the current. One thing you also want to be mindful of is when your stroke of your brush, there's a couple of places where my paint got a little dry, and you can see the stroke marks, like where they start and stop. I do my best to go back over all that stuff with another brush and basically skim it. If you're familiar with drywall, you kind of do the same thing. You just skim over the top and get some of the lines and stuff like that out. There's a couple of spots here and there that are coming out with the paint. Evidently, I was cutting on this at one time, and there's some cut marks on there. I never noticed that before, but I don't think you're really going to see that when I put the epoxy on there. I think there's going to be too much of a sheen and everything. But tomorrow, after this dries, I will probably do some more work to it. It's not going to be right the first time, probably not the second time, maybe the third or fourth. The river scene in the other room, I think I worked on that 4 or 5 days. Not 4 or 5 days consecutive and not, 12 hours a day, but it was more like, maybe a half hour here, a half hour there, then go clean up my paint and stuff like that. But my plan is to do the rest of this tonight, let it all dry. So I'm probably technically a little over halfway, even though I'm probably literally standing halfway between the beginning of the creek and the beginning of the river and the end of the river, because it gets really narrow up here and it won't take no time at all to do that. So hopefully when all this dries, my darker color and silt and all that stuff coming out of the from underneath the bridge and coming this way will fade and look pretty good. And I wish there was some more of those acrylic colors that I could get different variations of the green, but I think I bought all of them. And the other one was like a blue-green teal, and I didn't think that looked very good at all. Now, you might be asking about these paints here that I didn't talk about. These are acrylics also. I got these at Walmart, and I'm going to use these in my airbrush. And I'm thinking about airbrushing some of the detail into this river scene. And you notice I don't have any greens or anything here. I got all this stuff for weathering locomotives and cars. And my friend Tony Nobles, who is an outstanding model railroader, he details his own in-scale locomotives. He does the real small decals and in the number boards. I don't know how the hell he does that. And he also uses these paints to weather his cars. Now, he's weathered a few of mine and a few of Dwight's, and he's absolutely incredible. So that's why I bought that. And using the ammonia-free multi-surface cleaner as a diluting element and cleaning element for the airbrush. And I've had this airbrush for 2 years. It's really good when I paid a couple $100 for it. And I'm just scared to use it and tear it up, I guess. I don't know, but maybe I'll make a video of that and we'll see. We'll see. When we'll get back to painting here, stand by. We'll fade out and fade into the next half of this video. All right, so about an hour and 15 minutes after I started painting this, I finished up. This side is fairly wet. I just did it about maybe 5-10 minutes ago. Looks very green from this angle. I'm holding the camera where I can see the camera and the paint down there at the same time. And the camera makes it look a lot brighter than what it actually is. But I'll show you the whole thing. It's very green, first coat. Remember what I said back in the beginning? You want to do this in layers. So the next time I come out here and paint, I will go a lot darker. I use a darker green more than I did the brighter green, and I'll do a nice layer on that. And I will do I messed this part up. I don't know if you can see it, but I messed that up. But from back here, it don't look too bad. You can see it's darker coming out of there underneath the bridge, and then you can kind of see it kind of sweeping this way to the left. But I messed that up pretty bad. I had to go back 3 or 4 times and try to do that, but I'm just gonna have to let it dry. My paint was drying on my palette a lot faster here at the end. I don't know if it just got hot out here or what the deal was, but the paint started giving me some issues. I started adding a little bit more water and started thinning out a little bit too much. You can see a lot of spots down here where it's thinner than I wanted it to be. And this really kind of looks funky, but like I said, the next time I go over this with some darker green, it'll look a lot better. But, well, I was going to cut it off here, but I got something maybe you might be interested in. Hang on, let's go look. So I've been working on the belt line, which is my industrial short line with the history that it used to be an interurban route, kind of like Illinois Terminal. And it ended up abandoning interurban operations and just went to freight. So what you're looking at here is the old main line on the right, which is now for the freight station, and the connecting line on the left that goes to the Virginian yard. Now that monstrosity in front with the 10-pound weight on there, that will be the grade that takes the old line over all 3 main lines. And I think it's gonna look pretty cool. I think it'll be a neat like field of view. I think it'll make the scene look pretty cool there. But this is, I know it's steep, but there's nothing running on it. But I am gonna throw some track on there just for a couple of pictures. That's gonna be the last train on the old line or something like that. But that's gonna be in a couple months. But I'm just gonna glue all these pieces together and then lift it right off, and then at some point I can put it back on. But the inspiration for this is the Illinois Terminal crossing over the Wabash main line in Embankment, Illinois. So the Embankment was the Wabash was a east-west railroad, of course. At Embankment, there was a junction where the line turned north and went to Chicago. And the Illinois Terminal, which paralleled the Wabash for many a mile, but coming out of Decatur, it paralleled it to Embankment, and then went, curved away, went around a big S curve, real steep grade, went over a fill and I think a truss bridge over the main line, then went back down and went into Embankment, then curved off and went towards Monticello, if I remember right, headed to Champaign. But that's all off memory, could be wrong. I'm getting older, it is what it is. But that's the inspiration. So at some point there might be some sort of like a Warren truss bridge over here in the middle of the screen, and I can pose that for photos or take it off the layout for when I run auto racks or double stacks, which will only be for Dwight. So, but needless to say, I'm gonna close that here. I think that's a good update video, all this painting I did. If you got any questions, leave a comment below, or ask below, I guess. So comment, subscribe, hit that bell, and share the video if you want. And then come back in a few days and see what I talk about next. Oh my, what is that? Uh-oh.